Hello folks, with the release of the new Undermine patch 11.10, one of the first things you're going to most likely notice, if you're observant that is this new campfires option up at the top of the character selection screen. The ability to customize the character selection screen has been one of the main player requests for the new Warbands feature ever since it launched. And the good news is that Blizzard have not only listened to that feedback, but have acted upon it, bringing us a set of 4 brand new loading screens to select. In this video, I'm going to run you through how the new loading screens work and take a look at those new scenes and where to get them. Hitting the new option will call up this selector, where you can select from any of your collected scenes. And if you don't want to see the same scene all the time, or you just cannot choose one, you've also got a random option. By default, this change will only apply when you've selected one of your 4 favourites, which is pretty similar to how the current campfire scene works just now. But another bit of feedback on that new character select screen was that for players who have an awful lot of alts, the massive single list of characters from every server was a bit overwhelming and hard to manage. To deal with this, Blizzard have also added the ability to add additional campfire groups. These groups are all limited to 4 characters, but you can give them their own unique name. And like the favourites feature, these can be collapsed or expanded. In addition to that, you can also assign a different campfire scene to each of those groups, which means if you prefer, you could potentially create little themed groups, which I think is a pretty cool feature. So anyway, let's get on and go ahead and take a look at those new scenes and where we can get them. The original Azure Span theme that we're all used to by now has been given a name, Traveller's Rest, and there's really not much to say about this one as we already have it. The first brand new scene is called Ohn'ahren Overlook, and the theme here is pretty self-explanatory. This scene is automatically awarded to you the first time that you log into a character after the launch of patch 11.10. So you're going to have a choice of 2 scenes right from the very start. One thing to be aware of is that this scene is not available until you actually log right into the game on a character. If you hit the campfires button before you log into a character for the first time, you won't be able to make any changes. So just log in, log out, and it'll be there waiting for you. New scene number 2 is Freywold Spring, the earthen village that we visit in the Isle of Dorn, right back at the start of the leveling experience. This scene requires a new achievement, all that Kaz, and all of the requirements for this achievement are doable even before the new patch launches, so you can actually start working on it right now. Kazalgar Flightmaster is pretty straightforward. If you've not already visited every flight point in Kazalgar, then all you need to do is to zip around the zones, visiting any flight masters that you've missed up until now. One thing to be aware of is that this achievement was bugged at launch, so you might find you need to revisit some of those flight masters in order to get the achievement to pop. Kazalgar Glyph Hunter is to collect all of the skywriding glyphs dotted around the zones. This achievement also awards a mount, the Swarmite Sky Hunter. Whenever you're near a glyph, the game will make a distinctive ringing sound, and you'll also get a chat message. The glyphs tend to be at the top of the peaks and under bridges. For this achievement, I recommend grabbing the Handy Notes add-on along with the Handy Notes, the War Within Treasures and Rares, as it makes it much easier to locate them on the map. Kazalgar Lore Hunter involves flying around the zone, clicking on some signs and objects. This achievement was also bugged at launch, but it has now been fixed. So again, you may find that you need to go back round to get credit for any of you missed back at the start. And again, the Handy Notes add-in helps a lot here. These 3 achievements can all be completed in at most an hour of flying around the zones, so I personally recommend doing them alongside each other. Lore Master of Kazalgar requires doing all of the main level up campaign quests plus most of the side quests in the 4 original zones. I suspect pretty much everybody has done the campaign in full at least once, but if you skip the side quests, this can take a few hours to do. These do give a lot of experience, so if you have a character that you're wanting to level up, you can knock off 2 birds with 1 stone. As a general rule, you can find the side quest by looking for the exclamation marks on the main map, which should highlight the starting quest for most of these storylines. If you're struggling to figure out where you are in any quest line, or just to find that stubborn last quest that you're missing, I recommend grabbing the add-on BTW Quests, which is a great tool for figuring out missed quest lines. Or if you would prefer something a bit more hand-holdy, the WoW Pro add-on can give you a full guide to completing any zone's in-game quests. Kazilgar Diplomat requires hitting max renown with all of the 4 main renowns. If this is something that you have been slacking on, this can take at least a month to do. And the least painful way to do it is to just do the main weekly activities in each zone. That's Theatre Troop, Awakening the Machine, Spreading the Light, and the Ash Kahet pack. The easiest way to complete the packs is to just clear the map of world quests once a week. If you're in a hurry, the rares, one-time treasures, and world quests all award small amounts of rep, and you can occasionally also get bonus rep from doing delve. And finally, Allied Races often requires you doing a bunch of campaign and side quests. Not all of these side quests are part of the Lore Master achievement, but again, BTW quests and WoW Pro can help you to get them if you're still missing them. Back to the new screens, in Cultists Quay, which is based in the Nightfall Delve, is awarded for completing the Season 2 Delver's Journey. This is the one that's probably going to take you the longest to complete, as it will require grinding out quite a lot of delves. In Season 1, progress on the Delver's Journey did have a hidden weekly cap, and if you did too many delves in a week, you would stop getting progress. So my advice is that if you do delves anyways, perhaps just to fulfill your weekly vault, to just be patient and let this particular one be done when it's done. That said, make sure not to forget to do it before the end of the season, as this one may well not be obtainable in future seasons. If you don't usually do delves and just want to grind this out, the best time is likely going to be towards the middle of the season, when that cap is raised high enough that it won't get in the way. And finally, Gallagio Grand Gallery requires doing Going Goblin Mode, a new 11.10 meta achievement. This achievement will be pretty familiar if you've done any of the other major patch or expansion meta achievements. Adventurer of Undermine requires that you do 10 of the rares in the new zone. Fortunately, there's a lot more than 10 rares to find, so this shouldn't be very hard to do, especially as Undermine is quite small and these rares are very densely packed. I recommend using the add-on Rare Scanner, as it will alert you whenever a rare appears, as well as showing you where the rares are. One piece of advice I do have though is that when you defeat any of the rares, to go into the Rare Scanner settings and disable notifications for that rare, so that it's not constantly notifying you of rares you don't need. Rare Scanner can be quite noisy, and if you don't configure it to reduce the number of notifications, it's very easy to get so used to them popping up that you just end up ignoring them. Treasures of Undermine requires that you get all of the treasures around the zone. On the PTR, these treasures seem to be up all the time, but that could just be due to a lack of players, so it's hard to say for sure if these will end up being rare spawns when it goes live. Either way, I recommend using Handy Notes for this. The author of the War Within Handy Notes plugin tends to update their add-on quite quickly after a new patch comes out. And if the chests turn out to be rare spawns, I'm sure Rare Scanner will be able to help as well. 9/10 of the lot requires you to open the 5 Muffs auto lockers. These are basically locked chests that are dotted around the zone, which can be opened up by doing those standard quest-style puzzles that we've all become very used to. Tread Between the Lines requires you to collect 7 lore books that are just dotted around the zone. This one is pretty easy to do, probably take you at most 15 minutes. That Can Do attitude requires you to find 25 discarded cans lying around the new zone of Undermine and kick them out of the way. Now, I personally found that these cans were very plentiful in the PTR, so I don't think you'll have any trouble finding them. They're dotted all around the zone, and at least in the PTR, I found that you could just kick the same can repeatedly and complete the achievement that way. I also noticed that some of the cans would have the wee quest sparkle on them to make them a lot easier to see, but some of the cans didn't, so just look out for anything that looks like a can and try to interact with it. And finally, You're My Friend Now requires that you find 5 rats and click on them to befriend them. These have some fixed locations and will most likely also be included in handy notes, so don't think these will be particularly hard to do. One really cool thing is that when you click on one of the rats, you get a buff, and you can hear the rat squeaking in your pocket for about 5 minutes after you click on it. Overall, none of these scenes appear to be very hard to get, with the Delver's Journey one being the one that I suspect will take most people the longest to get. I also have a strong suspicion that the 2 meta achievements will end up forming part of a bigger expansion-wide meta for the War Within. That most likely will release in one of the final mini patches, so mount collectors and completionists will likely want to get getting these done anyway, even if you're not interested in the new scenes. And that's it for the new campfires for now. There's also a new tab in the collections pane for the campfire scenes, and this has the ability to change pages, even though there's currently only one page, which strongly suggests to me that this is something that Blizzard are intending to continue to add to over time. I'm personally hoping that we could see some more old world scenes being added along with any new patch and expansion scenes in the future. But what about all of you? What scenes would you like to see? Perhaps one from the vanilla zone? Or do you have some fond memories of Borealis? Let me know in the comments down below. If you found this update useful, then do hit the like icon to let me and the YouTube algorithm know that I'm on the right track. And if you want to support my channel or just be notified the next time a new video goes live, then hit that subscribe icon now before you forget, along with the bell icon to enable those notifications. All of your views, likes and subscriptions help to make my channel more visible, and for that you have my thanks. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.